I'm Dr. Claudia Welch, and I'm a doctor of Oriental medicine, licensed in New Mexico.
Now, your book focuses on hormones specifically and women's health. Why did you choose to make that the focus of your book?
Because I didn't understand them. And nobody I could find understood them. In Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, the old ancient classics that describe this trend of medicine, they don't have anything about hormones in them per se. What they do have is perspectives that you can apply. If you understand those perspectives well, you can apply them to anything in life and start categorizing and understanding those things according to those perspectives. So with hormones, when I started studying hormones, my background was in Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine and a little bit of Western medicine, and I couldn't find any information on hormones in Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine. So I started studying them from a Western medicine point of view, and Western medicine is very good at giving us lists of what hormones do, individual lists of what estrogen does, what progesterone does, what cortisol does, what adrenaline does, where they're produced, and then you have that information, but then what? You don't really know what to do with it. So what does that mean? Should I take bioidentical hormones? Should I not take bioidentical hormones? Should I take hormone replacement therapy? Is it a problem that my estrogen is low? Why can't I conceive? And what's going wrong with my menstrual cycle? All these kinds of questions were being asked of me, and I didn't know how to respond to them. So I looked at the lists of that Western medicine has compiled over the last century or so about hormones and what they do and where they're produced. And eventually a pattern started to emerge, and that pattern was a pattern that is described beautifully and fundamentally in both Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, and it's a pattern of duality. And that duality is, on the one hand, you could call them fundamentally feminine traits: cool, nourishing, grounding, heavy, wet, lunar kind of qualities, and on the other hand, solar qualities: masculine, light, motivating, stimulating, hot, dry. And these two fundamental archetypes are behind pretty much every system in our body, and certainly behind the endocrine system that is involved with hormones. Hormones either speed us up or slow us down, lubricate us or dry us out, make us hungry, make us thirsty. They're kind of one or the other. They're on, off. They lend themselves very well to a dual perspective being applied to them.
So, I mean, often we live as women thinking that our hormones control us. So in reading the book and kind of seeing that there are dietary things we can do and lifestyles, it sort of seems like we can become part of them and maybe even influence them ourselves to make our lives better.
Yeah, that's very well put. In fact, when we were trying to name this book, and the name is, as you know, Balance Your Hormones, Balance Your Life, my wonderful editor Renee came up with that, and I said, it's great, but it's kind of backwards, because that says if we balance our hormones, then our lives will balance. And what the book is saying, and what I believe, is the opposite. If we balance our life, our hormones will become balanced. So here's an example. For women's physiology, the two kinds of hormones that I look at in the book and that I think are fundamental in terms of women's physiology is women's sex hormones and women's stress hormones. And the sex hormones are those yin, nourishing, grounding, feminine hormones. They lubricate us, they nourish us. And the stress hormones stimulate us, motivate us, and get us out of the way of the bear, fight or flight hormones. And if we are living a stressful life, such that many times a day we feel stressed out, we're constantly stimulating stress hormones to be produced and secreted in the body. Those then irrigate all our systems and our organs and start to wear our systems and organs down. And is that a physical problem or is that a mental problem?
Do you think women are in a difficult position because the world has become very sort of male?
They're in an extraordinary difficult position. I think that our entire culture is having a love affair with the male qualities. Ambition, drive, success is all of these kind of male qualities: sharpness, dryness, thinness, lightness. And the others, dullness, slowness, wetness, we're not so sure about that. We like the drive. And women's liberation, it's an interesting term, because I teach across the world, and when I ask women if they're feeling liberated, the resounding answer is no. Sometimes women are finding a certain kind of satisfaction in their jobs, but their lives feel unmanageable and stressful. Stress is an epidemic, and I believe that it's at the root of is the root cause of most of women's imbalances right now.
Do you think, I mean, obviously women want some of those things, independence financially, the ability to become successful, to lead companies, to be in these powerful positions. Is it possible to engage in that world in a more sort of yin or female way, do you think?
I believe there is, and it's ironic because in my own life, these things have gotten more fulfilling and more quote-unquote successful the more I let go of them, the more I let go of them as a desire, the more I let go of chasing them, the more they just kind of come. And I do believe that it's important to really question our priorities. That fundamentally, whether our hormones are balanced or not, often comes from this kind of moral, spiritual question. Am I living the right life? Am I doing what I know in my heart is the most important thing for me? It sounds selfish, but if we were all doing that, it's like Howard Thurman says, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive and go do it, because the world needs people who have come alive. So we need to be alive. We need to be alive again. It comes back to having self-awareness.